Hello everyone and welcome back to part 2 of the War of the Worlds War Machine build. Today we're actually going to start working on the effects lighting. I'll show you how I'm going to make the side lights flicker off of one of the flickering bulbs I'm going to use on the hover engines, the 3 hover engines in the bottom. I'm going to put 3 separate flickering LEDs in there, but then daisy chain off of that, do a series to the 2 side ones. And if you do that, you can actually, if you run effects LED in series, you can actually put a regular LED in line with it, and it'll do the exact same thing as the master LED, as long as you put that first in the chain of the series. So we'll be doing that, so let's go take a look.
Okay, here we are. I got this painted black, got a light block down. Everything's looking good when I hold it up to the light. So, ready to go. We got the holes drilled for the LEDs plus the ones through the sides. So we can start putting some lights on. While I was waiting for that to dry, I had some time. I started doing the light blue on the base here, on the globe. Just give that light blue in the lower, like, shallow areas of the ocean, and I'll do the deeper blue in the other spots. So, but I was just bored, so I figured I'd start messing around with that. But let's get working with these lights. These are the 5mm flickering, as you can see. Let's start to flicker. But if I show you here, it gives quite a pinpoint with the way it's, with the round dome on it, the way it is. So I went and took a grinder or my Dremel and ground the top flat. Just cut that off or ground it flat and see how it spreads the light a lot better instead of a focused hot spot. There, it gives you that flashlight look. So I did that to these 2, and these are going to be the 3 like hovering lights. But yeah, all I do is just take the cutting wheel and the Dremel, and you got plenty. You know, as long as you don't get down to the metal parts, the inner parts, you're good. But I'm just taking. You can see where it domes over. I'm just taking that little dome part off. So I just come in here and do a little more RPM. Level as we can be. Not a big deal. But more level, the better. That one's got a little Gumby slight top on it. That's better. Now she should give us a more wider spot. Yep. So, and then you can actually take a Scotch-Brite too, and it doesn't hurt to scratch the sides to keep that from happening. So now we got those prepped, and I'm probably going to do that with the 3mm here, so they spread out on here. But what we're going to do, this one's going to be by itself. This one here. But these 2 I'm going to have control a little bit of flickering in the 3mm bulbs. And I don't want to have like this engine and this one do the same kind of effect. So I'm going to have power come in and then it's going to feed this one this way. Because what happens is if you run a light bulb that has a special effect where it's a flashing or a flickering or a pulsing, it'll control regular LEDs in that series if you wire them in series. So if you come in here with the positive hot and then come out the negative into a positive of a regular LED that doesn't flicker, it will now make that other LED flicker because it's flickering the power it's coming out of this negative. So it'll actually, that's how you can have a whole bunch do the same thing. Like say if you just want to have something strobing or flashing, say you wanted to have two lights here on the ends flash, you could just put a 3mm, say it's a 3mm light, you can have a 3mm bulb here, a flasher, and just come out of the negative of that and feed this the positive of this regular LED, and they'll both strobe at the same time, and you don't need a flash board or a pulsing board or anything like that. But do remember that since you're in series, the voltage is going to go up. So if each one of them is a 3-volt LED, now the power it needs is going to be 6 volts. And then you need to remember the resistor for that series. These are going to take, I think, I think they need around 120. If I use my calculator, my LED resistor calculator, they're both at 3.2 volts. Like it says on here, this one voltage rating is 3.0 to 3.2, so I went with 3.2, and that's the same with the flickering. So I 3.2, it needed 120 volts, and I think my resistors I had a resistor at 150. So you always go the next size up because you might not have what it really calls for on your LED calculator or when you do your math. So you just do the next one up, and that'll work fine. So I'm going to have a 150 resistor go into this positive of this one, and then out of the negative into the positive of this regular LED, and then the negative go into the negative terminal. So this resistor will take care of both, but since both of these are, and the reason why this one's a smaller value than like if I was doing them singly, because there's resistance in both the bulbs. So okay, so let's do that. There's one. What did I do with the other? Oh, it's in there. Okay. Yeah, this one's going to be by itself, so this one's going to control this one. That way, at least, if you see the flickering of this one, it's not the same here on the end. It's kind of way over here. So it'll kind of hide it a little bit. And I was going to have this flicker the eye turret, but the eye turret I'm just going to use a flashing SMD. This is nice. It actually has the resistor for 9 volts. And I'm just going to have that flash up here. So this one can be by itself because it's not controlling anything. I almost could, yeah, I can loop positive and then bring positive to this one and bring positive to this one, but it'll be feeding it. Alright, so that's what we're going to do. We got those ground off. I should probably do the same for these two and get these LEDs put in. And I want to keep them all the same direction. So we'll put the positive going all the same way. And those holes fit so nice and tight that they fit in there nice and tight. Give them a little squish. Make sure they're down in. Let's see how they look poking through. They look good. I got a little bit of black on them. You can always do this. And that's basically what she's going to do. That's going to be cool. Okay. Trying to wonder if I should wait to glue those down just in case I have a failure and I can easily remove it. And that's what I'm thinking. So you're going to get yours pretty much by yourself. So this negative is going to feed over this way. So we're going to take you. Just going to bend you like that. Menu like that. These positives I think I'll have to go across. And make sure she doesn't want to short the other one. Getting dangerously close. There we go. And I like to mark them just to make sure I know what's what. Because once you separate them, it's hard to tell which one's the longer one. This little thin red's getting dried up. These that don't really matter. Cut down short. Short. So I gotta get resistors on them. And I don't need these negatives this string with them. There we go. Okay. So I guess what we could do first. Wrap a resistor around there, and this is the 150. Get her on there. And I can trim off the excess. here. Actually, we could do that. We could twist those together so they get one power wire. Really could do that. And that's what we'll do. Get a pair of pliers. If I don't have them already out. Oh, right here they are. And then we're going to tip that off with some solder. And that's just a quick way of making a junction. Because the 9 volts is going to come here and then it's going to go to both and then get resist for the both lights. Yeah, and there's not going to be a whole lot going on in here, so I'm not worried about them touching. Everything's free, so a lot of times I'll put shrink tube and, you know, or, you know, you try to trim these as close as possible if you're just going to connect a wire. But instead of having a power feed and a power feed, you can just come right to one and let it junction that way. Use less wiring, it's just quicker. Okay. Yeah, and then these are gonna, this one's gonna feed that one, and that one's gonna feed that one. And the power's gonna come up through here. Actually, it's probably gonna come right about here. And then we'll start our bundle. This we can wait on. So what we got to do is get 2 of these out, and we'll finish these circuits, because that can get its own positive and negative, and then there'll be its own positive and negative coming from that, and then we got to send a positive and negative for the big front piece. I think I'm just going to stick this through. Come this way. That gives me enough wire to get here to junction them all. Yep, and it's already got, you know, just drill one hole for the LED strip. Green and 2 green. Let's make sure they're working. That is working good. And then we'll do the same thing. We'll trim off that dome. That's working good. These away. So, all right. like I said, they don't. You got all the way until you get to the metal parts. That's when it ruins them. Let's see if that gives us a better spread. That's what it cut. That's what it not cut. Cut. It's a lot more, way more spread than this one is. I'm trying to keep my, yeah, it's got that focus point, so working perfect. That's it. 3mm go a little faster. Now, will these actually stay? Or I want them to. So when I put the tops down, because all you have to do is, it's always great that they have a little peg here. So it allows you to use it for to hold stuff temporarily. Yeah, I do want it to come in there a little bit. But it looks like the stops on the other one have to come all the way down, so I can't solder it like that. Sometimes you see these, like the stop pieces, that shows where that piece is going to come down and hit. Like they're a little raised there. These are all the way down, so sometimes you can go around like that and use that to hold it and glue. But we're going to actually have to glue it down there. But this does the trick temporarily. Not as well on that one. Got a little bit of an angle going on here. That hole's not quite as centered as it should be, I think. But anyway, like I said, we're gonna attach them on their own. I should get these attached first. That's the way it should sit. Some medium super glue. Activator. Boy, I need to clean this one up. Tell it's the medium I use the most. go. Do the same on this side. Just come on. I don't want it to make a hump there so high that it's going to give me trouble gluing that piece down. That's the bad thing about these pump activators. When they start running out of fluid, you can't get any angle. But the aerosols just blast so much, you don't really need it. I had some break through the dam there. That side looks good, but I had some break through the dam there. As long as it don't affect how this piece slides on, we'll be good. Just had to close all this up. And sooner or later I'll learn which way. I'm gonna have to lift that bulb up. That one works great. Bulb's up. This one I think the bulb's pointing down. It's not to be. Or it's the super glue that's causing it. What we could do let's get that out of the way. Still got to get in there a little bit. Not a complete big deal because I'm not going to see in there. Alright, so the there we go. And I'll touch up some of that with the black because I'm afraid that's going to light shine through. And I'm going to probably run an extra bit of black in there anyway so it doesn't glow those tips because they need it. I can see. But just in that case, let's make sure this is in all the way. Super glue had to break through the dam there. Nope. I'm always going to grab the wrong one. Nope, it's hitting by now. So beautiful. Alright, so we fixed that. And we'll go in and brush. Put some more black in there to light block that. But first, I feel secure. Yeah. That's positive. I think positive's over here. Yeah. Let's get here and make sure we mark you. I'm pretty sure I put the positive toward the back. Yep. Okay. Well, we know we can't have them directly around that because of the way the top's going to come down. We need to spread those away. Trim them. Negatives I can leave alone, I think. Alright. Simple as that. So I think we're going to feed from out of this negative to this positive. We're going to go this way. I'm going to use this little scrap red wire I have. Figure out how I twisted it together. Oh, we should get. Well, these don't need resistors, they're already resistant. Let's continue. Piece of shrink tube on. Make a tug. Slide our shrink tube over. And we can bring this over to that one. So about there is good. tug. Good. And there we are. Boom. I'm going to just do the same on the other side. That light a little better. Let it fall to the ground. Yep. Always. Same thing, bring you up. Strip this other end. And this thing's not grabbing right. Oops, there it is. I had an extra piece of shrink tube. Make sure I slide that on, because I always forget a lot of times. And it's not grabbing on, it's making it strip more wire than it needs to. Or more insulation than it needs to. You want to make sure always that your solder kind of cools in a shiny kind of way, because if it immediately turns that fogginess, that means it's just cold solder joint. So you might want to heat it up again and do it again. Like that one just did it, like instantly went to a foggy, ugly looking colored solder. Push those down. That'll help keep them down. And there we go. Now we have them looped. We'll bring power here. It'll come down, feed through, crisscross over, and it should. If I hook 9 volts to that and a resistor to here, and then 9 volts to here, this one here should flicker the same as this one. So, but we will. Okay, that loop's pretty much done. We just got to bring the negatives over. So I'm just gonna tack on one of these. These are extra wires from LED strips. Give it a little more insulation here. There we go. Lift them up for now. It's an ugly spider. Alright, so we're going to tin these. Give this a tin because this is a braided wire. And back slide over these. Just about. I usually don't, but we're going to make this one look neat. And it kind of strengthens where the wire is soldered on too, so we'll put some shrink tube there later. I do like making things look neat, even though we're never going to see that again, but and like I said, it does give extra strength to that solder joint, because it's gonna hold everything tight. Get it over this one. Oh, yes I did. A little too far. There we go. Alright, simple as that. And there we go. Now we got the loop. And we just gotta put a positive pin there. Did we lose? Hopefully we didn't lose a lot of wire here. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, so there gives us these two and those two. Like I said, that one's just going to be by itself, but everything else is pretty self-explanatory. Just wanted to show you how to do that. You know, I'm going to put an LED strip here, and then that's just going to have a wire coming in and it'll all junction together. Same thing with this, and the same thing with the one coming down from the turret. So, but at least I showed you how like that will work. I probably should try to and show you how Let's see if we can do that. Get those two together, I'd probably clamp them. And let's make sure it is working. So, these feel the heat from that iron. Put that on. Let's see if I can grab both of these at the same time. It's like, how do I hold both of them so I can grab them? Try to keep that there. Not going short on the positives. Hopefully I got a grip there. It's got to be underneath each other, don't you? And this one just has to grab that. There it goes. Nice. As you can see, these are different, but it's not these two being the same. So if you see the light from underneath, it's still going to have a different flicker effect from these two, you know, not being so close. If this one's controlling that one, you know. So it's doing what we wanted. And you can see that these two are in sync. But yeah, that's the easy way of not having to have a control board if you just have a small amount of lights. You know, if it's a bunch, you do. Because you're running into the point of you have to do it in series to do this, and you know, depending on what power supply you're going to use. I always like to use 9 volts. I think it gives these model kits the right brightness. Because like a lot of LED strips you can use from 9 to 12 volts. So at 9 the LED strip isn't as bright as if you're feeding at 12 volts. And so that's how you can brighten, you know, or dim those. But I think for most of your regular lights, you know, 9 volts I think is the nicest. It gives you the right luminance. You don't want things too bright that it's a spotlight all the time. You know, like the deflector dish and the Enterprise A or / refit. You know, a lot of those deflector dishes are like a bright flashlight. It's just supposed to have a good haze blue and amber. And but I always find out, you know, 9 volts gives you a good lightness, and you can diffuse down from there by diffusing things with if you can. With you know, like I'm going to diffuse these with, you know, some fiber fill, which also spread the light out. And now it looks like it's covering pretty good. Do I have one of those little caps? Do I have the right side? No, I do not. But that gives you an idea. Already that's filling that plastic up a lot better. But I just wanted to show you that. That's how simple it is. And if you want to have, you know, 2 flashing lights or even 3, because that gives you, if you're running at 9 volts, like, and there are 3 volts LEDs, that gives you 3, 6, 9. You can do at least 3 in a series. If you're going to do more, you're going to have to step your voltage up to, you know, getting up into the 12 volts, because then I believe you 3, 6, 9, 12. That'll allow you 4 per chain. So, but that's all I got for you. I'm going to finish up the rest. Like I said, the rest is just simple one-off feeds. One-off feed for here, one-off feed here, and one-off feed for the eye turret. So, but I hope you enjoyed. I hope that gave you ideas of where you know, you want things to have multiple LEDs to have a special effect. Just use one effects light bulb, whether it's flickering or flashing or pulsing or whatever you want. and run it in series, and you can run the other bulbs as regular LEDs. So, or it gives the timing too, so they'll both like flash at the exact same time too. So, all right, thanks for watching.